Hi, everybody. It's Ryan from Pi Records, and I'm here with Tom from the Surf Kings. How are you, Tom?
How you doing? Doing
Good,
good.
good. Glad to finally have you on after a couple of shuffles. Um, Tell me a little bit about the Surf Kings and your place in Oceanside, California.
Uh, well, I'm not sure where I should start. Do I start at the very beginning of
Yeah,
all of
yeah,
this?
yeah.
Back when I was like a kid?
Sure.
Okay. Well, okay, here we go. For me, when I was living in Westchester, California, just up the coast up here, and from where I'm at, I'm in Oceanside, California now. When I was a young guy, about 14 years old, I had a good friend of mine that showed me some chords. I walked in and he was playing a guitar. And then I was, oh, wow, listen to that. So he showed me some chords. And it wasn't too long after that that we ended up putting a band together. So with just the friends, all the kids on the block kind of a deal.
Yeah.
So we called ourselves the Avengers, not to be confused with all the other 100 Avengers, Avengers.
Yeah.
And the so we did that, and this was in Westchester at the time by the by LAX, and it was the home of the Crossfires. They were the big band at that time. So this was like 63, right in there. And so we went out and immediately got gigs and started playing. Uh, uh, and it was pretty fun. And I was learning my chops as lead guitar player. And then we did this gig on Bologna Creek Bridge, which is like the LA River runs out right there. It's where Marina Del Rey is now. And there was a bridge that crossed from Playa del Rey over to Venice. And there was a big old bridge right there that crossed the creek. Well, we got an idea to go out on a summer day and just impromptu. We're just sitting around the clubhouse bored. Hey, let's go play on the bridge. So Ron, the guy in the band, rhythm guitar player in the band, and we knew Brian Dalton, who lived right there, right on the beach. We ran an extension cord from his house, like probably the longest extension cord. It was like 3 or 4 extension cords plugged in, and we literally were playing on the bridge, set up, and there was nobody there. I guess it was like a flash mob of surf. It was pre-flash mob. It was like we just set up and started playing. There was nobody there. And shoot, right immediately up, coming off, we're right on the beach. So right off the beach on a summer day, all these people and girls and people came up, and we had a little crowd. It almost seems like in 15 minutes. So that's going on. And so then who shows up? We have these two guys, very imposing guys that came and stood right in front of me, and he crossed his arms and he's staring right at me. And he was that far away, I could touch him, and just really imposing threat. He came up, and it was Mark Bullman and Kaplan, and the two singers in the Crossfires. And they were the big band at the time. So they were letting us know, you know. So anyway, that was all intimidating, but we didn't blow it. We kept playing and we got through that gig. We thought that was really weird. They didn't speak to us either. They just came up and stared at us, and then they left. So it was literally the next day, uh, as we were leaving, we had a clubhouse on the block, one of the guys' house. And so we were walking outside, and there was Mark and Howard, and Mark Bowman and Howard. So they approached me and asked me to join the Crossfires. So that's how I got into the Crossfires. So they saw me play live and all that. And I think they were trying to break our band up at the same time, any competition. So they were breaking us up. And of course, I joined. I had to apologize to my bros. I said, man, I can't miss this opportunity. And they understood. And so I joined the Crossfires. So I played with them for maybe a year and a half, somewhere in there, so about like that. And just about the time that they didn't want to do surf, and Don Murray was in the band, the drummer. So I got drafted, and I left the band. They were going pop. They wanted to go pop, so they became the Turtles. They were the Turtles.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's the Turtles. It was the
Yeah.
Crossfires minus me in the beginning.
You
In the
showed me,
beginning,
right?
huh?
You showed me
I showed you what?
the song.
A turtle song?
Yeah.
Happy Together.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Happy Together was the big one. They
yeah,
had a lot of hits. You Baby and It Ain't Me Babe, and they had some hits in there. But it was So anyway, that was what happened with that. See, where did I go from there? So uh, now, a few years later, and I'm off playing and doing some other stuff. So after I left the band, I went to Vietnam. So I come back from Nam, and when I went in, it was sitting by the dock of the bay, Otis Redding. I come back, it's Jimi Hendrix, and the whole world was 67, 68 had all changed. So I just mucked around playing rock. I was a rock guy. So I messed around with friends and stuff and never did anything too serious. Just enjoyed jamming and playing, a lot of jamming like that. And then a good friend of mine, the original drummer for the Crossfires, uh, Don Murray. Now he was living in Las Vegas. He moved down to Playa del Rey. So he moved down to where, and I had moved to Hermosa Beach. So at that time I was living in Hermosa Beach, and he moved to Playa del Rey. So that's like a 20-minute drive. And we reunited. We got back together again, and oh man, what's going on? So he wanted to reform the Crossfires. We got to reform the Crossfires. This is Pulp Fiction. When Pulp Fiction came out, Miserlou and all of that on Pulp Fiction, it set the world. The third wave of surf started. Right
yeah.
there. And so that all fired up, and he was going, we got to reform the Crossfires. So we were putting the band together, finding players, and we came across Don knew Elliot Easton from the Cars, the guitar player from the Cars, and he
Yeah.
knew him very well. So we went up and saw Elliot Easton, who was going to help promote the band and produce the band, this new version of the Crossfires. And then we also needed a good singer because we can't sing. And so we got Probin Gregory, and Probin Gregory had his own band called the Wedge. And then later on, and so he came into the band. We were working with Probin Gregory. He later on and right currently now is in the Brian Wilson band, the
Oh
Beach Boys.
wow.
Yeah. So he's done many shows working with Brian Wilson, Probin Gregory. So he's a for real musician. So, and oh boy, train of thought. So so there we are. We're at rehearsal. We're in our little rehearsal space, and then Don says, "I got to go in for surgery because of something going on in my stomach." And he does. He goes in for surgery, but there were complications. He didn't make it. So he didn't make it.
Oh no.
So he had complications during surgery, and he didn't come out alive. We lost Don.
Oh no.
So it was at that point, we were pretty stunned. And I was sitting at Toe's Tavern down there in Redondo Beach. It's a famous tavern down there. And the guy, and we knew the owner, and he was going, "Hey, you guys got to do something for Don. You got to put something together for Don." And uh, he said, "Here, you can use my venue. You can use my venue." So his club could hold probably 150 people. I'm guessing. It's pretty good size. And so right there where he was sitting there, I get on the phone and he gets on the phone because he knows everybody in town, the owner of the club, he books all the bands. And we had, in like a half hour, it felt like 20 minutes, we had 4 or 5 bands that were committed. They said, oh, we're in. Oh, no, we want to be part of this. So all of a sudden we're going, oh, well, we need a bigger venue. So I went ahead and I called Paul Johnson, Mr. Moto. So I called Paul, I knew Paul, and I go, hey, man, this is what's going on with Don. I need, this thing's growing really quickly, like by the hour. So I go, I think I need your help. I feel like this is over my head. And so Paul joined me and he helped secure some of the bigger bands like the Shantays and some of the, uh, those types of bands that were on the bill. So he was good at that and helped with the more of the organization because I've never done anything like that. Paul's got some experience in that. So we did the show. We ended up calling it Surfers Paradise, and it was I gotta get my notes. Let me look at my notes. What was my notes? Yeah, 96, April 96. So I secured the Strand in Redondo Beach, which was one of the biggest clubs at the time that hosted major, blues acts and R&B acts and things like that. So we got the Strand and we ended up having the concert. It was during that concert that my band played. We didn't have a name. We didn't have a name yet. So we had to, and meanwhile, I was playing rock. I was playing this like a rock fusion instrumental stuff I was doing, rock fusion guy,
Yeah.
So I was doing that stuff completely devoid of surf. So, and then that came along and I switched everything to surf, which is in my roots. And I finally went back to Don Murray. Don Murray played me during rehearsal of backtrack. So we want to do we want to reform the Crossfires and the surf thing like that. And I was not too into it. And then he brought into rehearsal a cassette. And he goes, you got to hear this. He's all excited. And he puts it in the little player. It's the Mermen, Food for Other Fish. And I was completely blown away. I heard that and I go, holy crap, are you kidding me? That album was recorded live on a 4-track. I go, that's impossible. How do you get all those sounds live? So that changed everything. I go, okay, I'll do that. So that opened up a door where I could be more open in the surf community. So I could be more open and not just go back and play the same traditional song I played when I was a kid, when I was younger, not a kid, younger.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go back and just keep playing what I was already playing. So that's how that happened, and it became the Surf Kings. So now we lose Don. We're doing that concert, and I guess they really liked us. They really liked us. And Phil Dirt was the biggest DJ, if you know who Phil Dirt is. And he was the biggest guy at the time up there in San Francisco, and he just gave us rave reviews. And it seemed like we lit the world on fire. Everybody's going, who are these guys? Because we came out of nowhere and played one of the biggest events that there's ever been for this type of a surf event. And it was well received. So it was just a little bit later, that was 96. So in a year later, I write all the materials. So we put the Surf Kings together, got a name, got the Surf Kings, and we came out with Up From the Depths, which is our first CD. And what year is that? Let me look at my notes again. You think I would know that, right? But I don't. Up From the Depths, 99. Yeah, it's about right. So 99, we had released that. And that got all kinds of good reviews. uh, that thing ended up, we did very well with that record. Um, it was used in a lot of, uh, not a lot, a few movies. It was used in, I was contacted by Dana Brown, Bruce Brown's son, and they were doing a movie called Step Into Liquid. So we cut a track for them to use in their movie Step into Liquid, Step Into Liquid. And there was Rick Doyle that he had approached us, and he took that whole entire album and he used it in a surf movie called Native State.
Wow.
So he used it in every track in his movie was one of our tracks, and that was really a fun thing to do. So we did that. There's a guy named Robin Berg who also did one of his own movies called North Shore Stories. He used a lot of that first album in there. So we got a lot of that. There was commercials and there was other use that we got off that first record. It really surprised us, and that also garnered us. And then I get a call, an email from a guy in Belgium. He's a promoter in Belgium, and we ended up doing 3 European tours.
Wow.
So in 2000, we did a tour. They're 30-day ones. He wanted to get us as long as he could get us, and with that was considering people working and the other guys in the band, and it was a tour where you played every single day, every night, sometimes twice a night, a day or a night you would play. So we did that. And then we this next year we came back again, 2001, did the same basic tour. Man, I got to tell you, let me tell you about the European audiences. They go crazy for American bands, for surf music over there. They just go wild for it. So every time we played a show over there, it was like packed, and people were just it's just funny to see. You see these guys, Belgian guys or German guys or wherever we played in Europe. We played all over Europe, and they would have their surf shirts on and their hats, and they would have a coconut with an umbrella in it like that. They just love California and love that whole deal. So that was a real fun experience to do those 3 tours. And gosh, what happened after that? I think things kind of calmed down after that. We decided to do another album, Coming Up for Air. So I did a Coming Up for Air that we recorded, and not much happened with that. But then again, I didn't promote it very much. The first one I didn't have to promote at all. It just got its own legs and took off. The second one I should have been, but I'm just the guitar player in the band. I'm not the promoter. And we didn't have a record company, so there was nobody to promote us or, put things organized for us. So it did okay. And we continued to play shows here and there. And then more recently, see, when was that? Let me grab my notes. Where is it? Yeah, it was Coming Up for Air with 2004. So we did that. And then more recently, that seems like a year ago. I swear it seems like a year ago. It turns out it was a couple of years ago was Blue Pacific.
Yeah.
That was our newest record that we did. And we really liked the way that one come out. And it was a little different direction for us. It's kind of stepping away from the traditional side of surf and a little more modern progressive type of surf. Again, I got to go back and give the Merman credit. They opened a door that we said, okay, we'll go through that door. That allows me more creative freedom and I love, don't get me wrong, I love traditional sound of surf. In fact, was it about a year ago? Again, it probably was 2 years ago. we did a tribute to some of my most favorite when I grew up as a kid that we ended up playing when I was a kid back in the Avengers and stuff like that. and one was Apache
Yeah.
by Jordan, and not the Shadows, Jorgen Ingman. Jorgen Ingman. I loved his version. That was big in America. And then Surf Rider, the lively ones,
Yeah.
we did that. Walk Don't Run, I did that. One of my all-time favorites is Baja by the Astronauts. So we recorded those, and I did those as close as possible to the actual track. When you drop the needle on the record, we wanted to have that sound, that energy, and that was kind of a learning thing, uh, because I wanted to understand how that was recorded and how they played it and how they achieved that sound and that we hear when you put on the record. So it wasn't a cover. I didn't do a cover of it. It was more of I did it note for note, sound for sound, as close as we could get. Again, for my own personal and for the band, uh, learning to learn and to appreciate that, because that sound, oh my gosh, that the guitars on Baja, that the reverb and the chunk on Baja is insane, the tone that they had. So that to me is the holy grail right there of surf tone. Oh, of course, Dick Dale, Miserlou, when he
Yeah.
fires that, the beginning of Miserlou, and you listen to that guitar, there's nothing like it. So that's where my heart truly lies. But at the other hand, I didn't want to just do that for the rest of my entire life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just just stay with that. But I did that as a tribute to that period and that time. Pay homage to the guys that led the way. So we did that. That was just recently. Now, because I did that, that frees me up to doing what we're doing right now. And that's we're recording.
Awesome.
And this and we just kind of it's a different approach because the first two records and pretty much the third record, but especially the first two, I write all the songs. I do write, arrange everything. I'll have the song together in my head, and I walk into the studio, and I'll say, "This is your drum part. This is your bass line." You know what I mean? Just a general idea, just so you can play the song. Here, give me this beat, give me this bass line, and then we play the song. So now they can hear what I wrote. And then from that point on, once they go, oh, got it, we got it. Okay, now we got the groove. Then that's when I allow creative freedom. So those guys can now, you get it? We got it. Okay, well, now do your thing. Take off and do what you want to do. And so that was how that went, the first two records. On Blue Pacific, it was sort of like that. But I allowed it's not like I allowed. I'm making it sound like it. I'm a surf king and I've got to control everything. So anyway, it wasn't exactly like that. But they just expected of me. They expected of me to walk in and have the songs completely ready to go. And this time around in Blue Pacific, it wasn't like that. It was more of a collaboration where I came in and I had a seed for an idea and I would play through it. But I didn't have a drum beat in my head. I didn't have the whole total. I stopped there. I just came up more with a melody line and a concept and showed it to them and played it to them and let them come up with the bass line and stuff without my direction because I wanted them to be more involved. And that was Blue Pacific. So now after Blue Pacific, the guys want to record. They want to be in the studio. They want to record. So now it's total. It's wide open. It's like we walk into the studio, and I don't have anything. It's different now. So I walk in. I don't have anything. So I walk in and I start chunking, or I'll start playing this little ditty, or I'll have my little idea. And then they kind of join in. They start joining in, and before you know it, we're going. Wow, what a great idea. So we've recorded a whole, like there's over 20. Call them sound bites
Well, yeah,
because they're not completed songs, but they're ideas. So now instead of me just doing it by myself at home, now I sit in the room and I do it, and then they all join in with their input. So it's like everybody's involved in that creative process. So what we're doing right, and also we brought in another guitar player that we've been after for a long time. Mickey Subia is now a Surf King, and he is a brilliant guitar player. And I played with him before in different recording in the studio and stuff like that, rock stuff. And so, but this, he's always been a fan, but he could never commit. Well, now he's committed. I want to be in. I'm all the way in. So I got Mickey in the studio with us, and we're doing that. We walk into the studio, and we have it's a recording studio, and so flip on the tape machine, and we let it run the entire night. You just flip it on, let it run. So everything is recorded. So, and we start jamming around, we start coming up with these ideas. So we finally got to the point that three new ideas in one night. We jump from one idea to the next idea like that. And we get on tape, we'd play it back and we'd all listen to it and go, oh man, because you could hear the potential in
yeah.
these tracks. So we're riding high right now with this creative thing is just incredible. It's just all these ideas. And so what we're doing now, we finally okay, let's put the brakes on, you know, and let's go back and let's pick a song, one of these ideas, and let's uh, cultivate that. Let's build it into a song. So that's what we were doing. So far we're two songs in, and that we're doing. So that's what's going to be happening Sunday. In 2 days from now, we're going to go into the studio on Sundays, and instead of just continuing to jam and write new material, we're putting the brakes on. Go stop. You know, we're overwhelmed with stuff right now. So let's and the stuff we have we really like. So we want to start building a new album. They want to record. These guys, they love the studio. They I want to be in the studio. So we're gonna cultivate these song ideas and build them into another album. So that's what we're currently working on right now.
Would you say it's a big leap from Blue Pacific to where you are now?
Not really. Blue Pacific. Well, yes and no. Maybe one, yeah, in a couple of the songs, yeah, they're pretty raucous, full rocking pieces. But every song is not going to be like that. We're just two songs into, shoot, we've got over 20 ideas on tape, and we like every one of them. So, but Blue Pacific, the way I put that album together, the transition was happening in Blue Pacific because in the beginning, with the title cut, Blue Pacific, it's very traditional tone and sound and style. And God, it's a beautiful song. And it's just, the palm trees on the beach. And that was the mood I wanted to create in that song. And then there was I Spy, the next one that comes along. It's a little more, it's still in that surf thing, and it's a little more aggressive and a little got a beat oriented. And each song, as it progresses through the album, the album starts getting a little more progressive. It's reaching out there. It's stepping outside of the boundary, and particularly in places where I am soloing that I've never really did extended soloing in previous albums like that before. So I take you out. The album's like a little journey. You start out all trad, all palm trees and really nice, and then it gets a little, you know, and it gets a little heavier, and then you release the Kraken, and that's a track, one of our tracks, and it's like heavy. Now it's big,
Yeah.
heavy rock, surf. It's surf rock. There's no question
Yeah.
it's surf, but it's surf rock like
Yeah.
that with these powerful extended solos. Uh, Not your traditional kind of surf solo. So, and as you go through the album, it gets more progressive as you go through the record. It takes you down that path and takes you on that little journey. So I guess what we're doing now would be an extension of Blue Pacific. We would be continuing that journey a little farther in the more progressive rock, surf rock realm, like that.
Awesome.
I got to be honest, but I got to be honest. I have, you know, I hear I'm always listening to surf, all the different bands and everything. And I'll hear Ivan's band, the Lords of Atlantis, and I go, God,
Yeah.
they're good. They sound good, and it immediately kind of snaps me back to being don't get too far, Tom. Don't get too far out there. Still keep it in the camp. Keep it, keep it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't completely abandon and go off on some bizarre trip. So I keep that, bump me back into center and keep me focused on into the surf vibe, that was my world. I grew up, that was what I did when I was a kid. I grew up in surf. That's what I played and did that. So meanwhile, in between time, I did all that rock stuff. And and then the Surf King, boom, surf. Again, the Surf Kings are pretty progressive band. And so I like where we're going. It was interesting. So last rehearsal, last Sunday. So Rico, drummer in the band, and for years. And he sat back on the drums after we worked on a track and he goes, Tom, I got to ask you something. Are you okay with this? Where we're going? Where this is leading to? Where we're going? Again, his concern is, are we getting too far out from center? Are we getting too far out there? And I said, right now, let's just roll with it. We only got 2 songs that we're working on that we've done. And they're on the more progressive rock side, but that's not all the songs. That's not all the ideas that we have aren't all like that, so we don't want to, you know what I mean? We don't want to stray too far, but we do want to experiment. We want to explore. And hey, with all these surf bands now, oh my gosh, there's, I mean, can't believe how many bands there are all over the world.
Yeah.
All these and they're great bands from all over the place. And man, they are not traditional surf. They are every variety of that, but they claim that surf. They're underneath that surf umbrella in that camp, but it's so that shows me the way that it appears to us that surf is changing in the way that we appreciate the traditional side. I certainly do because I love it. That's why I did the homage to those songs, because I just wanted to embrace that because I love that, but I don't want to. Okay, but I need to do something else. I need to branch out a little more.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're doing. So that's what we're doing.
Awesome.
Trying
Awesome.
to trying to keep it under the surf umbrella in the camp. Trying to don't get too far out there, but at the same time, we want to push the limit and explore. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Hence Rico going, Tom, Tom, are you sure about this? Sure. Are you sure? Are you okay with where this is headed? That's what he asked me.
Yeah.
Because he is. The band is. The band likes what we're doing. But he wanted to make sure, because he knows I'm a trad guy at heart that likes to play rock stuff.
Yeah.
So I go, yeah, I'm good with it. Let's just see where this goes.
Cool.
This takes us. So that's what we're on. We're all fired up. So we're all
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tom, for your time. Um, I really enjoyed your story, and I really enjoy your music um, and your journey. A lot of us have a musical journey, not quite as profound as yours, but we all have that musical journey. You know, from the time we're young and are in our formative years, and the things that take us into the rest of our life.
Well, yeah, yeah, yeah. Music is just with you. It's something you most people don't walk away from. It's just part of what you do.